I bought something. I recently ordered something from Sea of Dead Clothing. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to call this more of a unbagging video because my item that I recently purchased, as I mentioned, from the local clothing company Sea of Dead Clothing, it came in a bag. What do you think I bought? Or wonder what did I buy? Of course, I ordered it online and on the website seaofdead.ca, and I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll share a couple stories that are news stories that actually talked about this local company. But I mean, they were a big inspiration for me to do my Remember the Calgary series. Well, here's the bag that it came in, the Sea of Dead Clothing. Bring up my Remember the Calgary series voice, but remember when C-Train cars used this aesthetic? Yeah, that's their logo, Sea of Dead. That shows the logo and inspiration for a play on the Sea of Red with the Calgary Flames crowd. But it's definitely a unique local clothing company that keeps Calgary's past history alive. So let's open up this bag, and they have an option where you can either get it delivered or have it picked up, and I used the pickup as it was free pickup, and they gave you further instructions on where to go to pick it up, because ultimately I went to was the Shaganappi Point station and walked to a particular house and an address, and there was actually a few other bags at the front door, so you don't have to worry about thinking you're stealing someone's package. But there were several bags at the door, including this one right here. So let's unveil what I bought. I bought a hat, and check this out. Bring up the Remember the Calgary series voice, but remember the Calgary Cannons? Yeah, this is the Calgary Cannons Snapback hat, and look at this. It also came with a clothing tag as well. I mean, remember this logo? This is the I would say the second era of the Calgary Cannons, because they have two styles of hats. If the era when they first came in 1985, and I will talk more in depth about the Calgary Cannons in episode 24 in my Remember the Calgary series. But when they first came in, they were red and gold, the same colors as the Calgary Flames, and it just had to see. It was a red cap with the white and gold, same colors. But I actually liked this style the best. The mixture of the red and blue with the C and the cannon. And then I remember towards the end of the tender of the Calgary Cannons, we had that kind of that cute, aggressive, playful-looking cannon, and it had a red horseshoe. And I'll show that in that video. But it also came complete with a tag, because I've seen people who post pictures of it on Instagram, and so I'll eventually post me wearing this hat on Instagram. That it comes with this unique tag, and on the back has their information. They're saying they're on 17th Avenue Southwest around the Killarney. To give you an idea of whereabouts I had to pick up this hat was at the around Shaganappi Point Station. So let's bring on my hat here, shall we? Trying to guesstimate the snapback. It's this kind of snapback. Depends how my hair is. I recently had a haircut, but there we go. The Calgary Cannons. Looks good, right? Definitely might be tugging on some heartstrings looking at the Calgary Cannons, as I feel if you go to my Remember the Calgary series, this will actually be the last team that I'm going to talk about. I have 3 more episodes, so I'll talk about the Cannons here shortly. But I'll also talk about Stampede Wrestling, and then I'll do a final recap. But I feel this is the Defunct team that I think most Calgary sports fans miss the most, and what they have on the website, I would say this was the style I liked the most. I think this is the era I remember the most growing up, when I was aware we had the Calgary Cannons. I mean, they came in 1985. I was 3 years old at the time, and I know that actually on Facebook there's actually a group called Remember the Calgary Cannons. It's like they're asking that question I asked in that video, but I know that Mark Steven who is now the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, used to voice the Cannons, and I know he has a video on YouTube on the Mark Steven channel that he was wearing his 1985 style jacket, just looking at Foothill Stadium a few years ago. But I noticed there was something else in this bag. So, there's actually more goodies other than the hat. Let's see what they gave it to me. Well, I got a sticker for See a Dead Clothing. You know, remember those LRT cars? And I got a certificate. Thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. We're a big fan of what you do on YouTube. Keep showing your Calgary character. And it has the founders on there. It has Jonathan Anderson, Ryan Williamson, and Garrett Crump. So yeah, this is the paper they gave me. And then, you know, fittingly, I'm recording this actually on opening day for Major League Baseball, and the Calgary Cannons were a AAA affiliate for the Major League Baseball. We were affiliated with the Seattle Mariners, but we also were affiliated with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Chicago White Sox, and the Florida Marlins. And I think those are all the teams, but I'll talk about that in the video. Oh, they actually gave me some baseball cards. It says 1991 O-Pee-Chee Baseball Premier. So yeah, let's open this up. It's difficult to open it up. Doing this while on camera, but thankfully I've still got some teeth. Who do I have? Well, we got some. This is actually some baseball cards. I got 5 baseball players right here. Let's see if you remember some baseball player. Actually, 7 baseball cards. So let's just continue on. Well, here is Dave Parker of the, I guess then they were called the California Angels designated hitter. So here's Dave Parker. I'll have to share these in the video as well. Oh, here's another team that tugs on my heartstrings. That's part of this package. The Montreal Expos. Here is Ivan Calderon, an outfielder, wearing Montreal Expos. Yeah, I definitely missed the Montreal Expos. Remember the Montreal Expos? And speaking of the Expos, well, if you go back to episode 7 in my Remember the Calgary series, actually before the Calgary Cannons, we had the Cardinals. Well, we were affiliated with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Calgary Expos, where we were the Pioneer Rookie League. And I know that Andres Galarraga, the Big Cat, when he started his career with the Montreal Expos, he played some time here in Calgary. So you see that episode? Well, we got Chris Hammond, Cincinnati Reds pitcher. So here's him posing in that. So there's Chris Hammond. Oh, I remember this slugger. Remember Mo Vaughn? At the time, he is with the Boston Red Sox. Here's Mo Vaughn, going back to 1990. In 1990, for example, Mo Vaughn, he had a .295 batting average, 114 hits, 22 home runs, and 72 RBIs. And yeah, this is a younger Mo Vaughn. What else do I have in here? Well, we got Jeff Reardon, another Boston Red Sox pitcher. Here's Jeff Reardon. If you can make it out in the camera, I'll share these as part of the package in a better picture at the end of the video. And the second last card. Oh yeah, I remember this pitcher. Earl Hirschheiser. He was playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So here's Earl Hirschheiser. This is, you know, younger. Well, in 1990 he was 1-1 for 16 strikeouts. ERA 4.26, and in his career at that time, he was 99-65 for 1,027 strikeouts and 2.71 ERA. So there's Earl Hirschheiser. And then the last card that was in that package. Oh, here's an interesting name. Junior Felix, at the time for the California Angels, an outfielder. So here's Junior Felix. So yeah. So in addition to buying the Calgary Cannons hat, got a sticker and some baseball cards. I guess it would be too hard and too old and moldy to have complete with bubblegum. especially when these baseball cards are 30 years old. But that is unique with the Sea of Dead clothing. So seaofdead.ca, I mean, if you Google it on the internet, I mean, you got a couple of links that come in. I know that CTV News, it talked about, it mentions in that story that they had 2 Calgarians trying to keep it alive, but then there was 3 founders, with Avenue Calgary and then Data Hive. I think I'll put those links in the description below as well. Just, all the stories. There was 60 News. Step in Time Machine with Sea of Dead. So there's definitely, they've gotten some rounds on the mainstream media, and I think Mark Steven on his personal Facebook page also talked to the founders of Sea of Dead clothing as well. So it's definitely, they've only been around for a couple of years. I first heard of them back in late 2019 when I found them on social media, and I always say I remember the Calgary series, that when I did the Calgary Edmund Corral series and found them, and then I mentioned that Chris Wilson story with his jersey collection. You had that CBC story that I felt it was a fun series to do, the Remember the Calgary series, and this was my first purchase from them, and I do plan to purchase more items in the future. I mean, they have Calgary sports teams fast, like the Cannons, for example. And remember, they had like the Rads, the inline hockey team. That was the first episode I did, but they also had the Calgary 88s, and that is the other one. I've also recently saw the Calgary Spurs, but they seem to branch out a little more in terms of landmarks in the past. I think if I remember, when I went to the doorstep to pick up my item, that there was there were a couple other bags. One actually ordered, I think it said Cecil on there. Remember the infamous Cecil Hotel? Well, they put that on shirts, and I think Spurs was another one at the time when I picked it up. But they have other landmarks from the past, like Lloyd's roller skate, if I remember right. I think that was the big one. I grew up in Marble Park, so I was more familiar with Royland, and that building has since been demolished, I think, for the Calgary Public Library in the Forest Heights, Pembroke Meadows area. But they've also have put on a radio station I'm also nostalgic for, when the Calgary Cannons wore this, AM 106. So there's been a lot of other merchandise, not just sports teams from the past. And of course, I have seen Corral, and I think I'm definitely going to have to eventually pick that up too. A shirt with a Corral with that neon cowboy. So yeah, this is what I bought from Sea of Dead Clothing. Thanks for what you do on the Sea of Dead Clothing. And yeah, I had to pick up this hat just in time for me to get ready to do my Calgary Cannons video in my Remember the Calgary series. So yeah, remember that logo? It's a sweet logo. Miss the Cannons. It was just, a lot of it was in my youth. I did remember going to Cannons games in the past, but it's just by a time when you were able to go out more, make your own decisions. We had to say goodbye to the Calgary Cannons for various reasons, and then you got the Calgary Vipers. But yeah, that is my Unbagging video, and I say it's a very, very unique local clothing company to keep Calgary sports and landmarks from the past alive, to represent Calgary, where I proudly am born and raised and still live here today. So anyways, like I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home to Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, Stampeders, and formerly the Calgary Cannons, as I'll have to still gather my notes and relics to talk about that in my upcoming Remember the Calgary series episode. But I also do a variety of non-sports content like personal blogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experiences, let's say I'm on the road or a sport event. So if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, do follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey. You do, just to make sure you subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below, and definitely will be making a few pictures to put in my social medias repping City of Calgary and Sea of Dead Clothing. So I was going to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And go Cannons, we miss you. But at least I have it alive on a cap with the sea and the cannon. So thank you.